Guess is the worst Sentinel. Buff Guess. Play a different Sentinel. Throughout all of this slander lies a hero with a heart of gold. Our favorite, Guess 1337. While he may not have the longest stuns or the most range, what he definitely does have the most of is heart. That's why today I feel like it's time for you to learn how to play Guess like a true hero. And that's what playing Guess is all about. Guess has 3 moves, which are Charge, Punch, and his most important, Block. I'm going to teach you guys some tips and tricks I've learned from playing in order to understand how to really be a hero. To start things off, we'll go over his passive, which is really simple. He has 15 extra health and that's all. But his passives don't end there, since he has a hidden passive which gives him hit priority. If you have no idea what this means, it basically means Guess will take a hit over another survivor if you're right next to them, unless the survivor is one shot or you're against a killer like Slasher or Guess 666 that can hit both. This passive alone is what enables you to play like a hero, allowing you to take blows for your team like a true shield. His ability Charge follows a heroic theme, where you'll rush forward and running fast head on into danger. If you collide with a killer, they'll be pushed back and not able to swing for a second. While you could use it to just run away, it is not really worth it at all since you'll gain slowness 3, making it way better to use it to help someone out. If you want to get the most out of this ability, you should use it to hit someone being chased by basically running through them, since it'll help them gain much more distance than if you hit them from the side. This ability is pretty straightforward and doesn't really have too much flexibility. Although, I have a tip for you, which is if you're playing against a 1x or a cool kid, and they use their summon ability. If you're trying to use Charge to run away, you can run into the killer's minions to avoid the slowness debuff, allowing you to gain distance. Another option for charging is if the killer's below you on a ramp, and you push them, they'll go farther down since they will be pushed off the floor and avoid friction, making the push stronger. It is also possible to use this charge to rush through locations that already apply slowness to you, since nothing will be different and help you gain distance over the killer who suffers more from the slowness. The punch is his next ability and it's his tool to stun. What this ability does is he winds up a punch for 0.8 seconds and then does a lunge, and if the hit connects, it stuns the killer for 2 seconds. Well, this sounds not that great, to be honest. It's possible to get an enhanced version of it if you block and then immediately punch after, which will make the windup 0.625 seconds and a 3.5 second stun. Since this stun has a windup, I would recommend using it after you lose line of sight and you know the killer is chasing you, so as soon as they turn the corner, you're able to hit them. If you're trying to use this punch to get the killer off someone, I would recommend running in front of where the survivor is going to go and swinging forward, since the killer will probably run into you if they're going after that survivor. You're only able to have one charge of this ability at a time, so what I do to be helpful to my team is I find a way to get an early block at some time in the match and then let the block cool down and come back, so I can have a charge the punch and the block ready to be used. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, this leads us to the Guess final ability, which is Block. Guess, being the hero he is, holds his hands out and braces for an attack, and if a melee hit lands, he gains charge of his punch ability. While this may not seem too crazy, this alone is what makes Guess such a great character. There are a lot of tricks for blocking, and that's what I want most of you to know. To start off, some ways you can land a block or some abilities. If a slasher is using Gashi Wound on a survivor, you can run into it while blocking and you'll gain a charge. If you're brave and you see a 1x starting to use Mass Infection, you can go up to him in melee range and block the melee part of it to gain a charge. If you see a cool kid use Walk Speed Override, that's another blockable attack. While it may seem really easy just to go get a block, most killers are aware of Guess doing this and will bait them out just by running at Guess without actually hitting. That's why we have to be better and we have to evolve. What I personally do is I do not block until I'm certain the killer is going to go for a hit. So what I do is I wait to see if they try to hit me 2 or 3 times, and if they try each time, then I know it's time to go for the block. Some people may not know this, but you actually don't have to be looking at the killer to even block. So if you're turned around and use it, it'll still count and give you a punch. On the topic of deceiving, if you see a 1x use entanglement near you and it misses, you can stand still and pretend you got hit by it, and when he goes in for the kill, you block. This strategy only works on newer 1x players though, since veteran players will know that hitting an entanglement gives speed in the notification, but you're able to use this to get a free punch on new characters. As guests, you're also the biggest counter to Noli, and you need to use that to your advantage. If you run directly in front of a Noli and block when they are charging, it will basically act as crashing into a wall and stun them for a few seconds. If you block a Void Rush but only get clipped from the side, the rush will continue and you'll gain a punch. This is very important information to know though when you're trying to high save a teammate, since slightly clipping could basically result in death for someone. Noli players will also try to bait out a block before they hit you, basically winding up the charge but cancelling it before going in. My personal strategy for dealing with Noli is to never actually block before I get hit by the Void Rush once, since the second charge is what really does the damage. If you get hit by the first one, then Noli has limited time to activate it again, which makes you have the leverage in that situation. For guest 666, you can block his charge attack, but it will not stop the charge itself, unlike Noli. This means that if your goal is to prevent someone from getting grabbed, the best strategy is to charge at him to get resistance and save someone from a lot of damage being done instead of trying to prevent it from the first place. For John though, there's not much gimmicks you can really do against him, but the good thing is that his M1 is very slow and easy to react to if you have good reaction time. Also, with the fact that his main damage is M1s, you are able to block hits for teammates easily, making him a good killer to shield against. The most important thing a guest can do though is body block for teammates, especially supports, since that's essentially your purpose. If you see a teammate about to get hit, jump in there and block, because either the killer hits you and you gain a charge, or they don't attack but your teammate can still get away. No matter what though, you are the front line of your team, and even if you don't want to be, you should be the first one to die and protect your allies. That's what being a guest is truly all about, even if you're only able to save one life. That's how you play guest like a hero. With all of these tricks I showed you today, I hope that you're able to be the guest that I know you can be. If you have any tricks that I didn't list, please leave them down in the comments below. I really want to know what else techs you guys have, since I know the guest is such an intricate character, to be honest. And I would really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. With all that begging out of the way, thank you very much for watching till the end, and I hope to see you again. Bye! Wait, here we go. Nammy, begin to edit. Oh!